Can you hear me?
I'm just going to leave it just like that.
Okay.
You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower in Northport, Florida. I've got a really, really cool guest in the house today, and I'm going to let him take a few minutes and introduce himself. Teddy Dees, to your honors there, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rollins, for having me. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. My name is Teddy Dees. Grew up in Northport, had the pleasure of playing youth sports here in Northport. Graduated from Northport High School, where I was on the track team, football and basketball. Went off to college, played basketball there, and traveled a little bit as far as different locations for work. I was in Aspen, Colorado. I just moved back to Northport in April, so happy to be back in the town and just seeing everyone, family and friends, mentors, teachers that have helped guide me throughout my journey.
That's awesome. So the return to Northport, the way you've done it now for 2 years, talk a little bit about Coach and the influences there and why you've organized this whole thing and have a lot of support doing it.
Yeah, so the first year we did it, which was in 2020, I just thought of everything with COVID that happened. It just had everyone kind of, somewhat discouraged as far as being social. So I was just trying to think of ways to bring the community together on a social aspect. And the only way that I could think of like a huge crowd coming together and enjoying themselves was through a game of basketball. So I related my experiences, playing high school basketball in the community used to just come out, or just being on the football field on Friday nights where you have all these people coming together for some entertainment. So the first year we did it, it was just more so of, hey, let's bring some of the best that graduated Northport, showcase our skills on the basketball court, and hopefully that draws a crowd in and give the town of Northport a sense of hope of returning back to normal. And then I got Commissioner McDowell. She came to the game and she loved what I was doing. She thought it was great for the community, so she wanted me to continue to keep doing it. So I had the plan of always continuing doing it every year. And then we got a call. One morning I woke up, got a call that one of our coaches, Coach Allen, had passed away, and didn't really seem real because just a couple of months prior, some of the alums that we were close with had came down to celebrate him for getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it was like literally a few months later that you go from celebrating him getting inducted and praising him for everything he's done for the program to hearing some devastating news like that. And at that point in time, I didn't even want to do the event again because I was just like, we're missing an important piece that has built this program that has helped so many kids, not only on the basketball court, but in the classroom. And it just didn't feel right without him being there. And then I had talked to his wife, Miss Debbie, and she wanted me to continue to do the event. She said she thought it was great. Coach Allen enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, let's do it. The wife wants us to continue to do it. And, a month and a half, 2 months later, she ends up passing away. So at that point, I'm like, I really don't even have any guidance to like what we were really trying to accomplish. Kind of sat down with some of the alums and was like, I don't know how you guys feel about doing it again. And, a lot of people were kind of on the spectrum of not doing it just because we're missing two valuable pieces that had first joined us when I started the event. And then after that, kind of thought about it and I'm like, we can keep their legacy going on, but how? So the how became the hardest part too, because you have Coach Allen, who's known for coaching, and along with, being at the school, being in Northport for 20 plus years. But then on the other side, you have Miss Debbie, who, yes, she was involved in basketball, but people didn't know her to be like, oh, she knows so much about basketball. It was more so of, oh, that's Coach Allen's wife. So I was trying to put two and two together on how we can bring both their names together. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, I remember going to away games and no one was in the stands other than Miss Debbie. So in a sense, she was a huge part of our success in our program because she was one of the main supporters. So I got to thinking a little bit, and I'm like, how about we switch the name not only to like just Northport High School alumni basketball game, but the Allen's Memorial Alumni basketball game to bring more of a sense of what they did for us and how we're going to continue to, keep their legacy going. After that, it became even more important. I'm like, how about we create a scholarship? And it was to really show the senior athletes, what it takes to be quote unquote a bobcat, what it takes to be a leader, how to be accountable for things, how to work hard in life and achieve everything that you wanted, because those are the things Coach Allen had instilled in us when we started playing basketball. So that's how the scholarship aspect part came of it. And now I'm like, okay, now we're puzzling everything together. We have the alums coming back to play. We have a meaning behind it. And then we're also giving back to the community as far as giving out scholarships. So once I had those three things puzzled together, I'm like, okay, now the event makes more sense, has more purpose to it. And we're setting out a statement on what we're trying to accomplish here as far as keeping Coach Allen and Miss Debbie legacy moving on. And then from there, of course, you build attention from that. You have more people buying in because there's a purpose behind it. And last year was just honestly great. We've had so many people, just random donors, just giving money, food vendors coming in, just wanting to be a part of it. We had more alums come back just because of what happened. So it's always great to see people that, some of the players that came back, it was like I was walking across the street from, Heron Creek Middle School to go watch them play. And to be able to see them 10 plus, 12 plus years later on, it's like, wow. Like, so the event itself brought us a lot closer than I would have ever expected, because I know what happens, when we have someone die significantly, it impacts a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Some people become antisocial, some people become depressed. All types of emotions were built around it. I didn't know how to kind of communicate with certain individuals because of what happened. So just to see everyone come back together, everyone was all smiles. We enjoyed ourselves. We entertained the crowd. Kids got to be a part of like the 50-50 raffles and the half court shot contest. So I guess as far as being a backbone, the community really did come out and really show support, and we thank them for that. And just thinking about how I could be more creative with the events coming up, because some of us are getting older. Some of us, basketball is not that ideal sport anymore for us. So just being able to become creative, to give the community like that event of the summer that we can all come back to and appreciate. So this year, we're still going to do the same two games as far as like the women's program and the men's program. This year, I've added another game. It'll be like the exhibition match, like the kickoff game to the event. And it's just pretty much alums that graduated from Northport. You got some that are on the team that might have played JV, that been on the track team, football, wrestling. We have so many more athletes who came back and said like, yes, I want to play. So almost I think of it kind of like a Harlem Globetrotters like kickoff game. And I think what that does too is that brings their family and friends to an event to see them play. And also they're doing it for a bigger purpose. It's not just I got selected to play on this, in this event. It's more so of like, no, Coach Allen was my econ teacher, or Coach Allen was my basketball coach. I remember going to Coach Allen, during camps when I was younger. So we're all playing, for Coach Allen and Miss Debbie, and it's not necessarily just playing basketball anymore. So I thought that was cool to add them. And, this year we partnered with Suncoast Blood Center. We're going to do a blood drive at the event as well. I know there's, people here that loves to donate blood. So, there's an opportunity for them not only to do something that they like, but also attend an event that potentially could, bring in more viewers, see what we're doing and why we're doing it. I've added a bounce house, so the bounce house will be available for the kids. I know they don't want to sit in the bleachers, for 3, 4+ hours. So adding that little side entertainment for kids, it also brings, the parents can say, hey, they have an event going on. We can go sit and watch the games. Kids can go have fun on the bounce house. And, after the event, they'll be tired. Boom, they go to sleep. So trying to fill a void there for a lot of parents that can just get their kids out and be active. Um, and then other than that, man, it's just really having all the food vendors come in. Everyone's buying in. They kind of know, like, soon as I start making the calls around this time, they're like, yep, we already know. Just let us know what you need. So it's kind of cool to kind of see that that's somewhat like of an internal schedule, like, oh yeah, it's around that time. And that's kind of my vision towards it. Like, I want this to kind of be that event for the summer that a lot of people in Northport are anticipating, because it's something that really anyone in this area hasn't done. I know some schools have done, a here and there alumni game, but this event in itself is something that needs just something for the community. Whether that be, parents just getting out, maybe it's a long, stressful week and they just want to see some entertainment. Kids being able to just attend something and not being on the streets, committing crimes. First responders coming out and being able to, just come out and do something other than what they do on their day-to-day base that we always praise them for. So it's been definitely a journey, and it doesn't even seem. I feel like just yesterday it was our first event, and now we're coming up on 3 years, and this being the second annual, Allen's Memorial Alumni Game. But kudos to everyone that's participated, man, from the alums to the school admins buying in, the food vendors, our booster club, running our concession stands. I see Mr. Kirkpatrick just made a comment. He's at as much as he's done, not only for our school, but just in the community when it comes to him being on the PA, it's honestly amazing. And he literally loves it. He puts in 100% as if it was like his day-to-day job, and can't thank him enough. He comes up with creative ideas to, kind of bounce off of me. So all in all, like, it's literally a whole community effort. And I think that's kind of the statement behind it is, how can we push this so all the community is involved? And yeah, so far so good.
Well, here's a couple questions for you. I've known you a long time. I don't know whether you remember me back in the day or not. But when you now become an adult, that makes me a lot older, which I kind of mad at you for. So I get so old, I don't get so old. But I sit and listen to you, and I listened to you as a youth, and I listen to you now, and there's a distinct difference because you've become a role model for people to follow, somebody who people can get behind what you're doing and support it. But I'm going to tell you, you sound like I used to when I was the booster president, walking around talking to everybody, because this engagement is truly what's important to Northport athletics across the board, whether it's youth athletics or anywhere else. But specifically at the high school, I want to stay focused there for a second, because you went through your career at the high school where support was being developed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it wasn't truly going to a 35-year-old school, walking into a 35-year-old program and having all these things set up. You truly, what year did you graduate?
I graduated 2015.
2015. Okay, so our school was, I believe, 11 years old.
Yep.
9 years old from senior graduations. So perspective is everything. And when you have a coach that's 10 years, we just went over the numbers. He's there a long time.
Exactly.
In the life of the school. So the impact that he and his wife made, truly on us too. Carrie and I have known them both and cared about both of them deeply. And I'm so proud of you guys for stepping up. But how are you inspiring others to come back and anchor themselves as a leader within our program as alumni?
Great question. Honestly, I look at it and just like kind of how you said, as far as just building up that support system, I look at it as I know kind of my story is different than some, but when I first came to Northport, back in third grade, I had a sense like I was totally lost. Met a couple of friends that I'm very very close with till today. Um, it was more so about who would buy in. When like I said, when I first got here, I met a couple of friends. They got me into sports right away, and I think from sports, it becomes bigger than sports when you look at life in a perspective of why do we value it. And from that, when I started to learn, like, okay, it's not always about football, it's not always about basketball, but it's more importantly about who's around you. And just having that sense and kind of going towards high school, just overcoming adversity, who's there, regardless if basketball was not the topic of the conversation, but who are you around? Who are you trying to push to better yourselves? And that's kind of what Coach Allen molded into us. We had seasons where I think my first year, freshman year, I'm a freshman on varsity. I'm playing with Larry Taylor, his senior year. So it's kind of his show. We're just, doing the little bits and pieces, let him do everything. But we go, 22-6 that year. And it's like, wow, like to be a part of something like that. But then you look at the next year, my sophomore year, where pretty much it's everyone has to step up. We lose Larry, and we go 14-12, I think, my sophomore year. And you start to see those two comparisons, and you're like, okay, we can either buy in now, or we can just say, all right, cool. We can't win without having a senior that's, going to a Division I school. And just having Coach Allen build us up and mold us to like, hey, you can do the same thing that he did as long as you guys stick together, you work hard, and you know what you want in life. And fast forward, junior year, we get a new coach with Coach Slanger, still using those same work ethics as Coach Allen. And then boom, we're turning the program over again. Now we're starting to build that support system again. Came short, but we kept going. We wanted to be that first unit that brings in a district title. And then boom, go to my senior year, and we make it to state's Final Four. And I think just those 4 years in itself showed not only the people that I graduated with, the younger people, but also all the alums that came through. Is like, man, this took years to build on. These kids were, if I can mention some of my close friends, Zeph and Malik, Vic Sinopoli, who we've all played with since we were in elementary school. But look how long it's taken us from elementary all the way to our senior year to finally put it all together. And when you look at how many years it takes, it doesn't even matter how many years. It's just when you start. And I think that's the whole inspiring part of bringing everyone back. It's like, look, we started here and look where we are now. And when you can reflect on that from a day-to-day standpoint and just knowing you're getting better at 1% each day, which is what I praise to the kids I either mentor or put them through basketball sessions, like getting better 1% every day is better than not doing anything any day. And I think a lot of people just brought into that, like, yeah, you're right. Like Northport is fairly young. When you look at other schools, the tradition is not there as you look at other schools. Maybe the support is not there, but when you look at it from what Northport has done from day one to now, literally it's a tremendous swing. And it's like, okay, how do we keep getting better? Oh, that 1%. Now we look at it 5 years from now and we hope to take another leap and then another leap. And I think that's the inspiring part, that gets everyone kind of connected together and wanting to buy in. Just the history of what has happened, what we've done, what we're doing now, and what we set forth to do in the future. So that's pretty much. I think that's how I lure them in.
So what's fun for me right now is actually listening to you and that's why I'm not asking a whole lot of questions, because you actually sound like I think your coaches sounded back in the day, because you're literally trying to build this second annual, and I will tell you, I've been part of that school for a long time, and trying to get second, third, fourth annual, anything there is one of the most difficult things to do. So I'm going to give you a small piece of advice, I know your motivation. So the piece of advice I'm going to give you is, don't quit. So the minute that you step away from the third, the fourth, the fifth annual, and you don't have anyone filling your passionate shoes, there'll never be the next annual. It will go away. Okay. So when you do this, be that inclusive team player that you've been taught to be. Make sure you pass the ball. Make sure they're ready to shoot, and make sure they're ready to score. Because you're going to have to put a team together to keep this thing going on. And the most important thing you could do for that school as an alumni is put that team together. So keep building what you're building, basically.
Sounds good. That's the plan. That's the plan. Because I've even talked to some of the alums, just like, man, we're getting old. Like, I don't know how many years we can play. And I'm like, honestly, at this point, we've built it to the point where we have so many alums that are willing to come back and play that it's not it's not even, you don't even have to do anything at this point. It's just like more so of what can you bring to the table? How can you still be a team member, but not out there really dribbling physically the ball? And that's my plan is, as the years go by, we have all these alums just coming in and out of the program, bring them back. And now I'm just kind of overseeing the program, or we just kind of got like a committee that, hey, you're responsible for, I don't know, social media outreach. You're responsible for making sure we get all the sponsors and food vendors, and you're overseeing the officiating and stuff like that. So I've already been in talks of that because, again, I don't know how long I'm going to be playing. I don't know how long anyone is going to be playing. I know we try to stay fit and active, but basketball is just that it's a different beast once you hit a certain age. So, but that is the plan. And I've told all of my close friends, all the alums, I'm like, I want to continue to do this because it's something, one, the community needs. Two, I want to make sure Coach Allen legacy lives on. As much as he's given back, these 20 plus years, like, why can't we reciprocate that in a sense? That's kind of how I think about it. So that is the goal, regardless if we're playing or not, but to continue it going on, maybe even getting creative and doing cross-town alumni events where we go over the bridge and play Charlotte, or, we play Port Charlotte. So just bringing a sense to all the neighboring communities. Doesn't necessarily have to be just Northport. Port Charlotte has had a tremendous, program building over there. Charlotte, of course, Venice, Lemon Bay. So it's one of those things where you can get creative. You can tie communities together, although we do call them rivals and stuff like that. At the end of the day, just one big family living day to day, just trying to succeed in life. So that's kind of my vision on how I would like to do it in the future.
I don't even know. I've been around a little bit longer than you. And unfortunately, and I don't know that I've ever heard of alumni challenge games within the region that school belongs. That might be a really cool thing to do. Fundraiser, fundraiser / good time, just memory building, basically. But I think that's a pretty cool concept too.
Yeah, I thought
it could be a little mini series,
Yeah, I've thought about it so many times of doing tournaments or battle of the neighbors or what, I don't even know what I would name it, but because we're so many people in this community are still active in basketball, like just playing pickup basketball or in the men's league, there's so many alums from different schools that I still talk to on a day-to-day basis that are still active. So I know if I reach out to one person from Port Charlotte and say, "Hey, I got 10, 12 guys from Northport alum, we want to get down and play a game." I'm quite sure it's pretty simple for them to bring in their members too. And what you start to do is you bring the community of Port Charlotte, and then you got the community of Northport. Now you're at a huge event now, like you said, for a fundraiser, whatever we want to do with it, and proceeds go to this, proceeds go to that. But at the end of the day, you're capturing both neighbors, and you're having a good time doing it in a game of basketball that we all love. So that's kind of what I want to do in the future. I'm not sure how long down the road that'll be, but for now, kind of just keeping it in Northport and just molding this event to that summer event that a lot of kids and families can look forward to attending.
Well, any good coach gets talked about, whether on this earth or not, they get talked about. And the fact that y'all are willing to talk about him and remind everyone about him. Memories only fade when the conversation stops.
Yep.
So, listening to you grow up, maybe in front of my eyes even more. I don't know that anybody's told you this, but there's a little pride that is in my chest right now, having this conversation with you, because it takes a lot of people to influence an individual, and you've been an athlete for how many years?
Geez,
I've been dropping Teddy D's name in conversation. Teddy D's
right. So. Yeah, it's been a long. It's definitely been a long time. It does. When I look back, it doesn't feel like it. But when you start to do the numbers, it has been a long time. And just, I mean, honestly, like I said, most people really don't know the whole story behind me and why I do the things that I do. The close ones do. But honestly, it's literally a lot of credit just to, people like you that really just gave me the chance, the opportunity, not only to voice myself, but to showcase what I can bring to the table. And just letting me make mistakes on my own and learn from them. I think that is kind of what had steered me into the person I am today. I'm able to make mistakes. I take pride in making mistakes, just so I know I can learn from them. And just having the support system here in Northport since I've been, here since third grade has been, truly amazing. I would be dead wrong if I didn't give back to the community that's given back so much. And just to keep going is to show the younger people, even show people my age, maybe even people that are older than me that, as long as you don't quit and you keep going every day, there's a brighter side of things in life versus being, dwelling on things that you can't control, or, there's so many things we can't control, but the things we can control, we just need to learn how to maximize those. And it's okay. And I say this to all the guys and the girls, it's okay to ask for help. I think people are getting so engaged in the social media where it's like independence, this and this, but man, I'm like, from the people I've met and where life has taken me, the only way to succeed and make it to the top is by getting help from everyone. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned being in Northport is everyone is willing to help. Don't really have any selfish people that are just out for themselves. Everyone is willing to help. And I think that's what molds us together so much more than other neighborhoods or cities I've been into. I've never really experienced too much hatred in Northport. Everyone seems to want to be involved. There's a bigger purpose in things in that regard. So, yeah, kudos to everyone in Northport that has helped me. And I'm just trying to kind of be that pillar and that steward to allow the younger the younger generation to come up and do the same thing, once my calling is done for. So
All right, so I got a challenge for you.
okay.
Okay, it's the $100 challenge.
All right.
I want 100 shares.
Okay.
100 shares, $100 donation.
Okay.
I'll make it.
100 shares.
You get 100 shares of this video. It shouldn't be hard. You got enough people.
Okay.
And you know what that does for you?
That
It gets this message out.
it gets it. Yeah.
So throw it out there to the people.
Okay.
I know you got at least 25 basketball players, so you got 25 shares right there.
Yep.
So $100 donation, and I challenge anybody else who's listening right now to do the same thing. All you got to do is call Teddy D's, and if they were to call you, if they were to want us to advertise, if they want to do anything to help you guys out, what do you do?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. So the first one, I guess we do have an account for the Allen's Memorial Scholarship Fund Foundation. You can go to a Wells Fargo branch, since that's kind of who we have the account with. All you have to do is pretty much say the name. One of the bankers will pull that account up. You can make a donation there. You can also send checks to the high school in regards to or in attention to the Allen's Memorial Scholarship Foundation. Normally, it'll probably get pinged to the athletic director, Tony Miller. We also accept checks or donations at the time of the event. And for anyone out of state that is looking for an address, I will ping that with John, that can get sent to that address as well, as far as the donations. Even if you just want to be a part of the event, it doesn't even have to be money. Wanted to be a volunteer for the concession stand, wanted to oversee or chaperone the bounce house for the kids, wanted to be a stats person. I don't know, wanted to be like a floor cleaner if we fall on the floor and there's sweat on the floor. There's many ways to be involved. It doesn't have to be money. You can definitely reach out to me on Facebook. My email address is teddy.ds23@yahoo.com. Feel free to send me an email there in regards to volunteering. If you don't have any access to any of that stuff, you can literally come to the event the day of and just say, hey, I would like to volunteer, and we'll have some team member be able to assist and put you kind of where we feel the help is needed.
Well, I threw that share comment out there because there's the best way to get this information out is to share it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I love doing this show is everything that I do is based on give back and paying it forward, so to speak, and getting this information out about your event and keeping it vibrant is a huge thing. And I already, like I said, out of anybody out there, Teddy D's has 100 shares in him somewhere. And
I hope.
The funny thing is I know that Sean's out there probably already sharing it. As great guy as he is, so he's probably working his side of it right now too. So
yep.
I'm just curious to see if we can actually pull that off. And that's true.
I think we can. I think I'm just going to we're going to tap in my phone. I might send it to 100 contacts and see what retention rate I can get.
It is important to have the community involved.
Yep.
It's important to get that engagement. It's important for not just the second annual of any project, but this one in particular. It is what his dream was to begin with.
Yep.
Was to have that backing within the program.
Exactly.
And any coach at the high school has that same focus and drive.
Yep. Because again, it's almost looking at it in a situation of, let's just look at it from a life perspective. When we're around our dads, when we're younger, we want to see what dad is doing. What dad comes home late, he's working hard, but I know, I'm going to get the shoes I want if I ask him. I get to go places because, I see dad is working hard. So it's almost filling the void. And that's kind of the same analogy when it comes to programs at the high school. When you start to see and talk to all the alums that went through the program and what they had to do as far as workouts and things like that, you kind of get that appreciation aspect of, wow, okay, now I see why I'm doing this. I see why they did this. I see why, coach makes us run this. And I see why, coach is so hard on us with our grades, because looking back, we have all these alums that are coming back who are in their own careers, they're successful, happy family. But at the same time, it was a year, years before that they were in the same position as these athletes that are now. And that's literally like the same speech I give every time when I see, like we just started the Cats League, the little youth league at the high school. And I'm like, hey, I remember literally when I was in second grade in your shoes, right on this baseline, getting ready for my first practice. I was nervous, and just seeing that and, those kids hearing it from me, it makes it more acceptable that they're there. They understand that they can make mistakes. They understand that if they work hard, they can achieve the things that they want. So yes, it is definitely one of those things when you say it's literally a community driven thing. It really is, because it comes from the support of just the citizens here. It comes from the support of the families and friends, support of the teachers, counselors, principals. It's literally a domino effect. Like everyone has an effect on someone in some certain way that drives them to be the person they are today.
Don't um, don't we, as followers and supporters and the athletes at the school, have a responsibility in putting forth the best attitude and projection of themselves to the community? I want you to talk a little bit about what you've learned over your years as being a really a spotlighted athlete a lot of your time. And then, you're transitioning now into the spotlight of being an adult and handling fundraising and different things that you didn't have to be concerned about when you were a youth. I want you to talk about that responsibility and how you look at that now.
So, I mean, it was hard at first, and I think as we get older, of course, the way I look at it is, okay, I'm only getting older. I feel like the responsibilities are only going to get harder. Um, and being an athlete in high school, I feel like I was already molded to do stuff like this because my responsibilities from the average person was already harder. Even dating back to middle school, where okay, we got school at 9:30 at Hen Creek. That's when the bell rings. But I'm up already at six o'clock in the morning because I have workouts where the average person is probably sleeping in until 8:15, 8:30. Um, okay, I have a game as well as that day. So bell rings at 4:15. Most kids can go home, kind of do their homework whenever. Oh, nope. Well, I have to do homework while probably watching film or something in that regards, preparing for a game. And then I do have to play that game, and then I have to go home, and then I have to shower and eat. And then maybe I forgot that I had to do some extra homework. So just those responsibilities at a younger age, I feel like has somewhat propelled me in a way of taking on more responsibilities. And it only got harder in high school because now it's like your GPA matters, your attendance matters. Getting in trouble, you can't get in trouble now because now you pretty much have a target on your back. You're in high school. Teachers want to help you, but as soon as you mess up, they know they can call coach and there may be some consequences. So the responsibilities only got harder. Now you move forward to college. Same responsibilities apply, but this time there's money involved because you have a scholarship. Okay, you don't do right, you get kicked out of class. You might get kicked off the team. Your scholarship's gone, boom, you're out of college. All right, good luck. So just being younger with more responsibilities than the average, I think has helped me a lot. But again, as I stated earlier, if a task was too hard, I was never afraid to ask for help. And the same thing goes for now. Like when the whole alumni event, like I I didn't know how to like plan all this stuff. I was never an event organizer. Like I'm a numbers guy, so yeah, I can say like, hey, if we get 300 people here and we charge this and we have food, this is kind of what we can make, and keep building on there. I can do that. But as far as like itineraries and setting up photographers and videographers and helpers, like I needed literally a whole army just to fill those responsibilities. And it's nothing wrong with taking some off your plate and giving it to someone else who is going to be attentive and give 100% in those responsibilities versus me trying to give 10% to one thing, 10% the other. And now my focus, I'm not even focused on what I really am trying to accomplish. So again, I think just being at a younger age, having harder responsibilities has kind of, shifted my way of handling a workload. So I think that's kind of how I would view it.
So I'm gonna ask it this way, because in listening again to somebody who's grown through this and grown up with it and through it, everything you just said, you were a valuable part of as an athlete, because all of those things that you just talked about, the fundraising, the push for success, those were all being set in stone with you, whether it was Pop Warner, middle school, wherever you were, all the way into high school with football and basketball. You're doing all the fundraisers as a basketball player, football player. You're trying to, I'm adding my piece. At the same time, I'm going to say to you, most athletes, when they're at that age level, are not realizing what you just said as an adult, because you had to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't hey, Teddy D's went to school for this, and Teddy D's learned this, and Teddy D's is all about this. Let's follow him. This is a learned trait over years.
Yep.
And now, as an adult, you're stepping in because of a crisis situation that you saw needed to be elevated, and for good cause. Okay. And truthfully, that conversation you just had with me, that last little clip, I want you to watch that back, because I want you to include that in with your youth, because coming from you is different than coming from a parent.
Yep.
Or coming from a coach. Coming from you as an athlete who went through it and realized, hey, I could have done this more. I could have supported this more, but I was young.
Right.
There's that connection there that I want to try to get you, and I hope that other athletes are listening, because there is that connection with the youth that you guys don't have, and you can be influencers with change.
Yep, exactly. And I preach that to all the kids I encounter, because I mean, just yesterday I had we had a training session, and yeah, Wednesdays typically is more conditioning. It's more mentally challenging. So Thursday you come back in and you kind of want to see how they respond to having a hard day. And what I try to do all the time is take them through life lessons, but I categorize it with basketball. So again, Wednesday is a tough day. It's always tough days on Wednesdays. They condition a lot. I want to see who can fight through it in the blistering heat, like who really wants it. Yesterday they came in, kind of lackadaisical. So I'm like, okay, I just wanted to see if there was going to be a leader to, up the group's tempo. And, of course, no one really wants to, at that age, you don't really want to be the one that's set out to be the leader. You kind of just want to stay in the corner, do your own thing. And after a while, I just got kind of agitated, because I'm like, okay, we got some high schoolers in here who's on the varsity team. We have some middle school standouts. And then, of course, we have some, incoming fifth graders. So there's different levels of what I expect. I know how much a fifth grader can give me versus a varsity player. But everyone was kind of like on the same pace. And I literally, I stopped the ball. I said, put the balls down. Let's go in the middle really quick. And I'm just like, you guys got 1 hour here. I said, you can either work for 1 hour or you can get out. And everyone's like looking like, oh, like, give me the sign like, oh, I thought I was working hard. And I'm like, you're wasting my time, you're wasting your parents' money. And then I go down the line and I say, what do you want to do, out of this? Why are you doing this? Oh, I want to be a varsity basketball player. Okay, cool. So I checked that off because I've been a varsity basketball player. So I know at my age what I was doing and what you're doing right now is not going to get you there. I go to the varsity guys. Well, what is your plans? Well, hopefully I'm playing college. Well, I played college, so I know what I was doing at the varsity level in workouts is way more than what you're doing. So I know you can produce more. And even, I had one of the standouts from the girls program. She played basketball at Memphis. Now she's going to FGCU, but she was there. So I told her to come out. And there was a couple of girls there that are going into high school. And I said, how did you get so good on the varsity level where you're allowed to play and start point guard at Memphis? She's like, literally, like, I had no choice but to outwork everyone. She was a smaller guard. So that's already playing in effect right there. You're smaller than most average guards. So what are you going to do to set yourself apart? And just, I guess, hearing it and breaking it down from a standpoint where they're like, okay, we got two people in here who's played at the collegiate level, and they've all been in our shoes before. And they're telling me that what I'm doing right now is not enough. So now you start to go in their conscious of saying, okay, maybe I can work harder. I'm telling myself I can't, but I know I can because someone has already done it before. And that's the same thing that I do, in life. Just like, okay, if I had a bad day at work, yesterday, am I just going to come in and be half-ass, excuse my language, but am I going to be half-ass on doing my work on the following day because I had a hard day the past day? Like, that doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. And that's what I preach to the kids. I always try to tie basketball into what you're going to do in a life lesson. And it comes back to, if you do not perform every day in and out, even on the basketball court, the coach does not trust you. If you do not perform day in and day out when you're working, your boss does not, they don't value you. And when you get fired, you think they're going to call you back to tell you to come work again? No. You got 200 other applicants ready to fill your position right away. And it's the same thing that I tell them as far as basketball. You only get so many shots on the basketball court before your coach just don't talk to you. And that's that's the biggest thing that I tell the kids. I said, you guys get upset when a coach is yelling at you. I said, honestly, that might be the best feeling. I said, because the moment a coach stops talking to you and you do whatever you want and they ignore it, I said, that's when you're in trouble. I said, you think because a coach isn't yelling at you, you're good. No, 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 no. That's actually bad. You want the coach to be in your face 24/7 yelling at you. That you want that. So being able to just put those analogies together, from a life lesson in basketball, you start to instill that into them. Like, oh, yep, I know I got to work this hard. I know I got to work hard. And hopefully I don't have to have the conversation too many times. So
So Sean posted another thing. He wants me to commit to broadcasting. So a couple things I wanted to address this, and I will work on a couple things as far as the broadcasting goes. But the radio station, our hours are booked. But Sean and I have been talking about this and about doing some other things. So he and I we're gonna meet, and I think we're gonna meet with Tony and the staff and try to come up with something creative. I think that it's time for the people who care and who cared prior to step up and gather the troops, so to speak, and not just build. And I think this is a great step forward for the programs across the board at the high school, because without you doing the second annual, this conversation didn't happen. Without you doing the second annual and being who you are, people are not talking. We had a coach's show last week that I think went phenomenally well. As far as the how the coaches laid things out, and we did. I think it was 8 coaches in 55 minutes.
Oh wow!
And Sean was on there too, and Sean did his thing. And what I find is that everything that you just said is what they preached during the whole show. They're the wins and losses, they'll take care of themselves, but molding good people and good athletes is what they're, destined to do. And I'm glad that I was an athlete in high school and middle school, and I was able to write papers about my coaches as I developed through college. And I was fortunate enough to be able to write those and thank the coaches, and they knew about it. This is a different situation where you can't go back and thank him directly, but his legacy lives on via this and the conversation you have with Debbie, his wife, and her, memories of what time they spent sitting on the sidelines talking about y'all, and really trying to build character into the program. And I think this is one of his shining moments where character is actually stepping up to the plate.
Yep. I totally agree.
We've got about 5 minutes left. Dates, the times, the blood drive, and everything that people can do. And you've got about 4 minutes now to finish it up.
Got it. Yep. So myself, Teddy D's, and all of the basketball alum invite everyone from Northport, any neighboring cities, to join us for the second annual Allen's Memorial Alumni Game. The event will take place, tip off for the first game. We have 4:30, might be 4:45, depending on the pictures that we take for the newspaper. The event will be located at the Northport High School Gymnasium. The concession stand doors will be open, so there you'll have a way to access that. In the midst of the entire event, we will have shout outs going on. We'll have 50-50 raffles. We'll do silent donations. We'll do a half court shot contest. And during the halftime of the women's and men's game is when we will select our scholarship recipients to receive their check. And that's one of the most, of course, exciting parts of it is just seeing one of those senior athletes come down to, half court with all the participants and the donors and take a nice picture of them receiving their check. The flyer itself, it kind of entails some of the details. The QR code you can scan to see all the participants that's going to be participating, along with some of the mission statement behind it. Of course, we have our famous Coach Allen's signature on here. We thought that would be cool to kind of have his signature engraved on the poster. We will also have a trifold that will give more details about Coach Allen, Miss Debbie, the event, all of the sponsors. And also, speaking of sponsors, we will be hanging our Allen's Memorial Scholarship banner in the gymnasium as well. So all of the donors that donated will have their logo on the banner, along with all the participants that have participated last year and this year, along with our first scholarship recipient. His name will be on there as well. And as the years go by, we will be adding the scholarship recipients on the banner.
That's fantastic. Again, I'm just going to say I'm very proud of you and anybody who's helping you to do this. And encourage every single person out there. If it's a 10-minute time slot, if it's an hour time slot, if it's a week time slot, get them involved. Let them contribute at whatever level they can, and keep building this because you're going to change. You're going to change athletics and other things at that school with the influence that you're bringing right now. So keep it up.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it a lot. I know we haven't been able to talk too much throughout our careers, but it's always great to hear that you're doing well. And I think this hour interview has pretty much summed up everything we need to get caught up on. So look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, you can come to the event. And I'm going to try to get those 100 shares right now.
All right, go do it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. This is John Rawlings with WKDW Radio 97.5 FM and Real Talk Radio saying thank you to Teddy D's and anyone who's helping them and all the sponsors. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Talk to you soon.
See you.